Leviticus contains rituals and procedures for meeting God and asks the question, how can a seriously flawed people come before a perfectly righteous and holy God? It is important to remember that Leviticus does not stand apart from Exodus because the instructions are given from the tabernacle, where the glory of the Lord has descended on the tabernacle, and it is there he gives the instructions. So this is a continuation of the tabernacle instructions. The first 7 chapters are the laws of sacrifice, and they basically go around the following themes: give something pleasing to God, support the priests, have a party, and here are the ways in which you can be purified and restored under certain circumstances. Chapters 8 through 10 have the ordination rites of priests. 11 through 15, the laws of purity. And this purity concept has to do with, are you in a position to come and worship? Chapter 16, the Day of Atonement, which is the holiest day, in which the high priest offers a purification and sends a goat into the wilderness, taking away the sins of the people. 17 through 26 are what is called the Holiness Code. And in 27, it deals with religious vows. First of all, sacrifices were very common in the ancient world, pretty much everywhere, very ubiquitous. And it was often a way of providing some kind of sustenance for the gods. This is particularly true if you look at Mesopotamia or Egypt. In Leviticus, there are 3 main reasons: a thanksgiving offering, a communion offering, and expiation for sin. I think we sometimes think that sacrifice is only about expiation for sin, but it's much broader than that and much more celebrative in many cases. The thanksgiving offering includes the whole burnt offering, cereal, and the offering of well-being or peace, shalom. The communal reason is, again, the offering of well-being or peace. Expiation has to do with sin, the sin or purgation offering, or the guilt or reparation offering. So these are all different kinds of offerings: whole burnt offerings, cereal offerings, offerings of well-being, sin offerings, and guilt offerings. The sacrificial system then seeks to restore purity and separation from those things which are not clean or impure. Some of the Torah or law within Leviticus has to do with laws governing diet. And these are what in Jewish tradition are called kosher laws, and is based on the idea of separating clean and unclean foods. And this is kind of hard for us to wrap our minds around. Some of the applications or some of the explanations that people have given have to do with what we would consider pragmatic or practical reasons, and that really is not what is going on here. This is a world in which every part of the heavens and the earth, everything, every day, has more significance than just the material. There are symbolic things going on all the time. One anthropologist, Mary Douglas, has suggested that at creation there were 3 basic zones, elements that were established: air, water, and earth. For each element, there are creatures with what might be called normative habits and means of locomotion. So, for example, clean animals of the heavens are winged and non-predatory. In the waters, they're scaly with fins. In dry land, they're four-footed, chewing the cud, have cloven hoofs, and again are non-predatory. The non-predatory part might be seen as important because if an animal is a predator, then it contains within itself kind of a kind of death because it has eaten other creatures. In the water, things like lobster, crab, shrimp are considered unclean because rather than swimming in the water, they are sort of creeping along the floor of the water and again are often scavengers and eating dead things. So there's some kind of connection here also with death. There are also holy times, the Sabbath, and this includes ideas of the sabbatical year and the Jubilee, which is in the 50th year. Festivals such as Passover, the Feast of Weeks, the Day of the Trumpet Blast or Rosh Hashanah, the Day of Atonement, the Festival of Booths. Passover, or the Feast of Unleavened Bread, was practiced in the spring. First Sheaf, or the Feast of Weeks, at the harvest. These are 50 days apart. This is what we call Pentecost. And one offers the first sheaf. The Festival of Trumpets is the 7th month, September, October. This evolved over time into the New Year, Rosh Hashanah. And then the Day of Atonement, or Yom Kippur, is the 10th day of the 7th month. Again, the Holiness Code is based on the idea of separation of clean and unclean, and it contains sort of what we would call ethical ideas, although I'm not sure that in the ancient world they would have made that distinction. Leviticus 19 has laws similar to the Decalogue. It also contains a list of proper duties and attitudes towards God. So, for example, honor parents, keep the Sabbath, keep from idols, do not steal, do not deal falsely, do not lie or slander, do not swear falsely by God's name, do not kill. Leave gleanings for the poor and the sojourner, do not oppress the neighbor, rob, keep wages overnight, curse the deaf or trip up the blind. Do no injustice in judgment, do not hate, do not take vengeance or bear a grudge, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. This is in Leviticus 19. Do not mix cattle, seed, or cloth, or kinds of seed or kinds of cloth. Do not sleep with a slave betrothed to another. Rules regarding the eating of fruit. The first 3 years it is forbidden. 1 year is an offering to God, and the next year fruit can be eaten. No consulting of wizards, etc. Honor the old. Do no wrong to the stranger. Love the stranger as yourself. Do no wrong in judgment or business.